You are watching the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television with me, Catherine Kone. We are broadcasting live from our headquarters here in Accra, in the city of Douala. In our lone headlines, following a decision by the head of state to suspend the 33% controversial phone tax, some inhabitants and phone dealers here in Douala have applauded the decision and say the shifting of the tax burden to consumers wasn't an appropriate thing. We shall be bringing you more in the following news. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us once more on another edition of the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. I am Catherine Kone. Some inhabitants in the city of Douala have applauded the decision of the government to suspend the 33 phone tax implemented by the government. According to them, shifting the tax burden to consumer wasn't an appropriate thing to do. Details with Oni Ladonet.
It is a thing of joy for some inhabitants here in the economic capital, Douala, as the head of state, His Excellency President Paul Biya, requested suspension of the phone tax. This decision was made public in a communique published on Monday, 19th October 2020. If it has been cancelled, then it's to my benefit, because to me, it wasn't necessary. I can now go and buy my Android phone without worries. I thank the government. We the poor masses can only thank the head of state. Looking at our lifestyle, we cannot buy a phone and same time pay custom duties. We thank the head of state.
Donc pour ce point-là, nous pouvons remercier le chef de l'État.
Donc je pense que la décision.
I think the decision from the head of state to suspend everything was a great one.
Parce que c'est vraiment une bonne décision.
La suspension que le président du Cameroun a faite.
I think it's a great decision to suspend the tax, because we have people who do not have money to even buy a simple phone, and now we have 33% to pay. It's not good. It's good the tax has been suspended.
C'est bien comme le président a décidé de suspendre ça pour l'instant.
In other words, if the government has taken those taxes, has taken those taxes for the moment, I think it's a good thing, because it will let them think more about it. Yes, we let them think more about and see the situation that we are going through at this moment before taking such decision. And I think it's a very good idea that they came into consideration to see those people, to see the community about what they think to do, and I encourage this initiative. Yeah, that's what I can say about this idea.
The suspension of this tax is an avenue for government to fine-tune in better strategies for its implementation.
The issue of the tax, before a tax is being brought into existence, there's a parameter that needs to be followed. I believe the head of state thought it wise that the idea should be re-examined before it is being promulgated. So I think they gave it a second thought. In the days ahead, we are expecting to hear what becomes of it.
According to some individuals, the tax burden on phones shouldn't be for the consumers to bear.
Une fois de plus, le président de la République a bien réfléchi.
One more time, the president has taken a good decision, because this was going to cause disorder. I think if taxes are to be paid on phones, it has to be directed to the right source, leaving citizens out of it. The suspension order comes 3 days after its implementation on Thursday, 15th October 2020.
And now mobile telephone dealers here in Douala have hailed the suspension of the digital custom clearance of phones. To them, the move will improve business, which has been falling since last week when the phone tax went into effect. We shall be having more of that report with Peter Susey.
Phone dealers in the economic capital Douala are heaving a sigh of relief following the suspension of the digital custom clearance of mobile telephones and tablets that went into effect last Thursday, October 15, 2020.
Said that no, it's not good like that. We the phone sellers, we are very happy. We are very happy for the cry of our father Paul Biya, as they have heard our cry. and they have reduced it. They have said that they should wait for the moment. I'm sure he has made something like a parent. We are happy with the food sellers. We are happy.
A correspondence from the Secretary General at the Presidency, Minister of State Ferdinand Gongo, yesterday instructed the Prime Minister to suspend the controversial tax and devise other appropriate payment mechanisms. The law had raised dust, with many questioning why the end user is charged with custom clearance. Businesses were badly affected, but a silver lining beckons with the suspension.
Our customers that ran away, maybe they will come now, they will be coming back. So we are happy.
The news has, however, brought to light the manner in which phones get into the country.
We have many ways of paying tax. I cannot tell you where we are paying our tax, where we used to pay tax.
Government says that the state is losing hundreds of millions from phone tax evaders, and so a concrete mechanism must be put in place to ensure a smooth recovery of taxes.
Something else, some ministries in Cameroon have been singled out for poor contract awards and deliveries in 2019, according to Echo Matin. These ministries did little or nothing to execute the contracts under their supervision. Once more with you, Peter Suse.
The launch of tenders and reception of public contracts by public ministries in Cameroon in the year 2019 is going on a poor state. According to Echo Matin, the Ministry of Public Works launched 49 calls for tenders out of 73 projects, and out of the 65 expected and awarded, only 47 contracts were awarded. No project was ultimately delivered. At the Ministry of State Property and Land Tenure, only one contract was received. The ministry had previously launched 6 calls for tenders and awarded all the contracts. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development launched 57 tender calls for 64 projects, 48 were signed and only 36 received to date. Other ministerial departments, like the Ministry of Basic Education, also stood out with a number of contracts not delivered, with only 3 projects approved out of 9 selected. Same story for the Ministry of Sports and Physical Education, who received 3 contracts out of 7 awarded. Public procurement continues to have major problems in Cameroon, despite general improvements in the awarding of contracts. For a total of 578 projects approved during the budget planning of 2019, 497 tender calls were launched and only 346 contracts received at the end of the year, for a 59.9% execution rate.
Now, in education, smiles has once more been put on the faces of some school-going children in Kumba, in the Meme division of the Southwest region. The benefactor was a son of Kumba and paramount ruler of the Bafors, His Royal Majesty Fon Mukete for a Ekoko. The ceremony to hand over school items to these children took place at the Fon's Palace, that is in Kumba town. The beneficiaries include 29 Bafor children and over 40 orphans. During the ceremony to hand over these items to the Bafor children and underprivileged that is the Fund of Kumba, reiterated the importance of education. The philanthropic gesture has greatly encouraged not only Bafor children to effectively resumed school, but it has caused an effective school resumption in that part of the country. Let's now get a reaction of the fund of the Bafor, His Royal Highness, that is Mukete, Chief Mukete for Ekoko.
To talk again about this. As you see, we've had the second program of giving didactic materials, back to school materials to Bafor children. We noticed last time that there were so many and not everybody was informed and others just did not get the opportunity. So we felt it was important to not to leave anybody out. So today we were able to do a second ceremony, part 2 of it, to address, actually it's more of the less privileged Bafor kids who missed out on the first one. So we're happy to see the young ones come here and to see joy on their faces, get support from the palace, and to see that there are so many young Bafor children, and therefore the Bafor tribe has a great future. These are stars, and with good education, then the best is brought out of them. And of course, we're hoping that more of them will go into the sciences.
And let's talk about something else, the two-shift, rather stay in education. The two-shift system of education is more of a blessing to the administration of Lycée d'Akwa in Douala. According to the discipline, a Master 2 administration has been set aside or set up to take care of students, thereby reducing the workload. Oni Ladonet visited the institution and filed in this report.
Lycée d'Akwa in the Douala 1 municipality is one of the schools involved in the two-shift system of education.
By 7, everybody must be here, and they go back at 12:10, 10 minutes past 12, and we start receiving the second cycle. Second cycle, they have to be here as from 11:30 and wait outside for the time that we prepare to send the other people out. We send the first cycle at 12:10 because we have to manage them, manage those who are going outside so that they can go out, so that we have time to receive the other ones. So that's the time they come. They come here at 7, they go back at 12:10, and the other shift start as from 12:15 and they go back at 5:30.
The implementation of this system of education has been a good decision as it helps ease work for the administration and the teachers.
Well, the two-shift system in Lycée d'Akwa is perfectly managed, and we see a new change. At first, the teachers were really worked, the administration was also working, everybody was exhausted. But with this two-shift now, because here in Lycée d'Akwa we decided that the first cycle they come in the morning, and the second cycle they come in the afternoon. And we have come, even at the level of the administration, it has been split into two shifts. We have the shift for first cycle and we have the shift for second cycle. Now, the second cycle, they come in the afternoon, and it's made of big students which we believe that they are grown up and they can behave themselves. As for the first shift, is for those little ones who cannot resist. So as concerns the management, we are trying our best, and God be our helper. We think we are going to have a wonderful school year.
Lateness is still recurrent among students.
Well, I've always experienced lateness.
Since having incurred injuries following an accident this morning on the Yaoundé-Douala highway. The accident, which occurred precisely at the toll gate towards Douala, involved a heavy-duty truck and a pickup. The collision between the two vehicles paralyzed circulation of vehicles for several hours. According to Dr. Tebusius Siben, an ophthalmologist, the increase in the number of persons with eye-related issues at the Acha Annex Hospital is as a result of too much exposure to electronic devices. Details in the following report.
Despite its assistance in the execution of our jobs and communication with friends and family, excessive exposure to mobile phones and computers appears to be affecting the visuals of most users. This follows the massive consultation recorded these days in the eye units of some hospitals in the city of Douala.
We've noticed that the visual needs of patients has increased tremendously. In the past, our parents didn't used to need to look at phones, to look at messages. Now they have to look at their phones, their messages. So that's it. We see that they come to hospital complaining about all those things. So
he says the disturbing situation can be prevented if
yes, these diseases are what we call they cause preventable forms of blindness. Like cataract, for example, is a curable cause of blindness. After surgery, the patient gets the vision is revised and he sees well. Refraction, if a patient has a refractive error, a patient who was not seeing very well, after being prescribed the glasses, the vision improves, and that's almost like like preventing the patient from going blind. Then there are also other childhood diseases like measles, rubella, toxo. These are preventable forms of blindness that when you go to when the antenatal, when the mothers have their vaccines during the antenatal clinics and the postnatal clinics, this help to prevent the children from getting all these diseases. And vitamin A too is also very important because it prevents vitamin A diseases that cause blindness, like measles too. So.
However, individuals have been advised to use medicated glasses in order to prevent other eye pathologies.
A news out of the country as the U.S. inches closer to pivotal elections come November 3, 270,000 registered Muslims Americans voters could determine the outcome of the presidential contest in the background state. VOA with more.
For Michigan voter Dr. Mahmoud Al-Hadidi, there is one issue above all others on his mind when he casts a ballot in the November election: respect.
The Muslim community would like to be acknowledged as part of this great American nation and not as an alien culture to this nation. The Muslim community would like to be treated with respect.
In 2016, the emergency room physician supported Democrat Hillary Clinton for president. He also supported Democrat Gretchen Whitmer in her successful run for Michigan's governorship in 2018. But this time around, he isn't sure if he'll support former Vice President Joe Biden or Republican President Donald Trump.
I would like some of my concerns addressed before I make up my mind.
One concern is the U.S. government's terrorist screening database, commonly known as the Watch List, which many Muslim Americans feel targets innocent members of their community.
Definitely that list should be updated, and those who are wrongfully on that list should have their dignity back and they should be removed. And that will be something fair and just.
Dr. Al-Hadidi says he would also like to see a Muslim American appointed to a high-ranking position in the next administration.
You've got to tell people something to excite them to go out and vote. Just because Biden is not Trump is not a good reason for me to go out and vote.
Osama Siblani is the publisher of the Arab American News, a website and newspaper popular with Michigan's large Arab and Muslim American community.
But there is like 50–60% of our community are not excited by the Biden-Harris campaign. They're disgusted with the Trump campaign.
Siblani says many in the community are outraged over the Trump administration's ban on travelers from some countries with majority Muslim populations, a ban Biden pledges to remove. But he said there is also recognition and support for Trump's efforts to secure peace and reduce U.S. troop levels in the Middle East.
Even though with whatever Trump being characterized, we would like to have a conversation with the Trump administration. I believe that there are some issues that we're very interested in. I think that him not being a very hawkish on war in the region, that's very important to us. He has support, but it's not substantial.
It's not that people are deciding between Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Oftentimes it's between Joe Biden and not voting.
Dr. Abdul El Sayed is an epidemiologist who ran against Whitmer for the Democratic nomination for Michigan governor in 2018. Today, he is chair of the Political Action Committee, Southpaw, Michigan.
But the point that I'll always make to the community is that, you are voting for your own political power, right? As the proportion of Arab Americans voting and Muslim Americans voting in elections grows, it forces politicians to pay attention, because if they want those votes, that can mean the difference between victory and defeat.
A recent poll of American Muslims by the Institute for Social Policy and Understanding shows about 78% of those eligible to vote are registered, an 18% increase since 2016.
There is no Muslim monolith, right? No one community thinks with one mind. I mean, we are a diverse community, just like every community in this country.
Kane Fairbaugh, VOA News, Dearborn, Michigan.
And that very news brings us to the end of the 6 p.m. newscast on Spectrum Television. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening.